Hello and welcome to week 5 of my Beachcombing Blanket Crochet Along. Really happy to be able to be here and share a bit of my local beach with you again. And I'm also really happy that it's quite a grey and overcast day. I realised some of the previous videos that I've recorded for you, they've been really sunny, and whilst that's been really delightful, we've had some glorious weather here throughout April. It's nice to be able to show you the sea and the beach slightly differently because it does change from day to day, and yeah, today's a grey overcast day, a few spots of rain, and I'll show you a bit more of what it's like today. And this week's square, week 5, is inspired by probably my very favourite beachcombing find. I realise I say that every week and oh, I love all beachcombing finds, but sea glass has got to be a really special one. And this square is inspired by those finds of tiny little glass amongst the pebbles and amongst the sand. Really special indeed. So I've brought down this little jar of sea glass. I've got an awful lot more at home but as you can see, there's one little blue bit in there, and these are just some of the pieces I found here on my local beach. The glass ends up in the sea from lots of different sources. Obviously green is a very common colour to find because of green glass bottles that end up in the sea, and obviously the glass smashes and tiny fragments are smoothed over a period of many years into these little glass jewels. And it really is amazing how sea glass varies from beach to beach. So the beach that I'm standing on right now, I never find any. There's really big pebbles. If I just scan around, you can see there's really large pebbles on this little bit of beach, and finding sea glass amongst those pebbles is really difficult. But a beach a little bit further along, literally a 5-minute walk, less than that, has much finer pebbles and patches of sand, and it's really great for finding little bits of sea glass. But we're restricted here to kind of little green bits, and I never find bits that are too big. But again, I know that further along the coast, a little bit further, driving distance, there's a beach where you can find really big chunks. So I think it's amazing how the tides and the currents and the sea deposit these little pieces of glass in different places along the coast. So it has to be low tide to look for sea glass. And it's best when the tide is going out. So you see those freshly deposited pieces of glass, and if the tide's coming in, it can suddenly come in and wash bits of glass away whilst you look for them and discover them. So low tide is best, which is what it is now. The tide is going out. It's about 3 hours since high tide, so we've got another 3 hours of the tide going out. So a good day to look for sea glass, but not on this beach. So I'm going to walk along to the next beach a little bit further along and see if I can find some with you. And so here the stones are becoming a little bit smaller, and there's more patches of sand that you can see, and it's here where you're more likely to find the pieces of sea glass. So let's have a little walk along. And if you have a look, do you see that bit there? I should think you can see that little flash of green. Let's focus in for you. There it is. And I can now add that to my collection, and it gives you some idea of the size of it when you see it with my hand. So here is one of Salty's favourite beachcombing finds. We often find these old tennis balls washed up onto shore, and she loves having a little play around with them. So here the stones are really, really small. And there's another little bit. And another one. I'll show you a little bit later on in this video how I've combined sea glass with some of my crochet. And so this week it's 2 squares that we make again, 2 of our sea glass inspired squares, and these are the last squares that we're going to make, because from next week we join the squares together and then move on to the next part of our beachcombing blanket journey. And here you can see my squares with some pieces of sea glass that I brought down to the beach with me today. I didn't find all these pieces today, but I did find this gorgeous blue bit a few years ago here on this very beach. It's such a beautiful colour, and that's where the inspiration is for the central blues in our sea glass square this week. And here's a heart-shaped piece, very small, but a gorgeous shape. So I'm back at home and I can show you some of the things I've done combining my sea glass finds and crochet. And here you can see some hanging pendants that I made a few years ago. These were really large pieces of sea glass that I found in northern Spain. And here are smaller bits that I've crocheted around with a very, very tiny hook and fine cotton thread. And here's the jar full of sea glass finds that I found in Seaham in the northeast of England a few years ago. Some amazing finds there. Including these 2, which are probably my greatest sea glass finds ever. And here's a seashells crochet clutch bag I designed and made. And I drilled a hole in the piece of sea glass to use it as the closure for the bag. It's so hard to drill into sea glass. The pieces often shatter. I've got the right equipment, but it's not that easy. So I hope you've enjoyed this grey beach stroll today, but looking for those bright pops of colour in the sea glass. So enjoy the crochet and hopefully till next week. Thanks for watching.